Hello there! Now for those of you who don't know, the evening of the 25th in Scotland is known as Burns Night. It's the night where the people of Scotland get together to celebrate the life and work of writer and poet Robert Burns, aka Robbie Burns. Now, I grew up very attached to Scotland because I spent a lot of my holidays there as a wee bairn. I also later decided to go to university there, so I've actually lived in Scotland. In fact, I'm living in Scotland right now as I've recently moved in with my boyfriend who is Scottish. He's also the one who suggested it would be a great idea if I did this in my Scottish accent. I'd like to take this moment in time to apologise to anyone Scottish watching this video for my awful accent and also for all the stereotypes that I'm about to bring up. Anyway, this is just my wee guide to show you what things you can do to join in the Burns Night celebrations. Now the main celebration of Burns Night is the Burns Supper, which is revolved around a haggis. The reason for this is because of the Robert Burns poem Address to a Haggis. Now finding a haggis outside of Scotland is not always an easy thing to do. My family celebrating it down in London in ode to our lovely Scottish neighbours always found it quite hard to find haggis outside of the really posh shops. In America it's actually nearly impossible to get proper traditional Scottish haggis because a while ago some of your government members were wee babbies about the fact that there's a wee bit of sheep's lung in it. They basically said Americans are not allowed to eat it because it's awful. I personally think it's quite delicious. Just see what I did there, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, that's a bad joke. But a Burns Night supper is not just about the haggis, it's also about the neeps and tatties, which is swede and potatoes. However, if you want a slight break from tradition and you can't be bothered cooking, you can go to your local Scottish fish and chip shop and get yourself a haggis supper. This is a deep fried haggis with chaps. And oh my gosh, is it delicious. Now you also have a choice of Scottish beverages to have with your meal. My personal favourite is Irn-Bru. Now its colour may make it look slightly toxic, but I can assure you it's actually not and actually quite delicious. However, I must apologise to my American viewers again because it's actually quite difficult to get this in America because it's been banned because it's got E numbers in it that you're not allowed. Sorry. If you're old enough to drink alcohol, Scotland has a wide range of beers for you to try. Stay away from the Tennants though, it's not the best. Tastes like pish. However, if you're more of a spirits drinker, then of course you're gonna go for Scotch. Now you know whiskey is from Scotland if it's not got an E in it. You can have a wee dram of whiskey, which is a wee bit of whiskey in a glass on its own, maybe with some ice. Or you can have a whiskey mac, which is equal parts whiskey and ginger wine. Out of all the alcoholic beverages out there from Scotland, I have to say that my favourite is Krabby's ginger beer. It's so tasty. Now I love Burns Night, but seeing as it falls on a Saturday this year, it might be nice to make a day of it. You can start off with a traditional Scottish breakfast, starting with some porridge, followed with a traditional Scottish breakfast. It's very similar to an English breakfast with eggs, bacon, tomatoes, mushrooms, sausages, but you also get a few extra items. You've got your sausages, but then you've also got Lorne sausage, which is square sausage meat, which is just so tasty. You're also more likely to come across hash browns, and also black pudding. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's kinda like haggis, but it's also got blood in it. It sounds gross, but honestly it's dead tasty. That probably wasn't the best phrase to use. You can also add to your breakfast some potato scones or Scotch morning rolls. And if you want toast, make sure you make it with mother's pride. For lunch, I would recommend a Scotch pie, a macaroni cheese pie, or a baked bean and mashed potato pie. If pies are not your cup of tea, then I recommend a Scotch egg. It's an egg wrapped in pork sausage, coated in breadcrumbs, and whilst it was actually invented in London, as I learnt from a Weeble, it is now seen as a Scottish dish. For those of you with a sweet tooth, I highly recommend Tunnock's tea cakes. I also heavily suggest that you try Scottish tablet and Scottish shortbread biscuits. Now to get yourself in the mood for celebrating Scotland, you might want to watch a few things that are about or made in Scotland. Movie-wise, I have a few recommendations. Brave, Trainspotting, Sunshine on Leith, The Angel's Share, Wicker Man, the good version, not the shite Nick Cage version, and Harry Potter, because it was written here and it's Hogwarts is in Scotland, and yeah. With TV shows, I was going to recommend Monica the Glen, but then I realised it's actually mainly focusing on an English family and has a very romanticised view of Scotland, which many Scottish people might not appreciate. However, I do recommend Hamish Macbeth, which followed a police officer who lived on the islands and he had a wee bestie called Jock. You could watch that one episode of Doctor Who where David Tennant actually uses his proper Scottish accent. That's Scottish enough, right? One series that I insist you watch, however, is Billy Connolly's World Tour of Scotland. It was a documentary filmed on one of his comedy tours, so not only does it have a lot of information about Scotland, but it also has a lot of great comedy. Some other Scottish stand-up favourites of mine are Frankie Boyle, Danny Boy, Kevin Bridges and Susan Calman. In terms of comedy TV shows, I also have some good recommendations. There's the classic Rab C. Nesbitt, Chewing the Fat, Still Game, which is a personal favourite of mine, and Burnistoun. Seriously, it's great. You could also make use of some of your Scottish inventions. Watch some TV, phone someone up on your landline phone, ride your pedal bike, do some logarithms, flush your toilet, or play golf. Yeah, it's not my favourite sport either, but to be honest, it's a lot safer than shinty. Anyway, I hope you found this video at least a little bit interesting and a little bit educational. I'm sorry for my accent going a little bit all over the place. It's because I actually talk like this in real life because I'm from London, as my regular subscribers will know. But I do hope that you all have a lovely Burns night, especially if you are Scottish and intending on celebrating. I hope you toast the haggis and have a great night with your bagpipes and stuff. And yeah, my accent's just gone. Goodbye, I'll see you in my next video.